Good day, welcome to class. It's me, your course instructor again, your way Apostle Dr. Revival John Ringjot. It's a beautiful day and nice having you in this class again today as usual. And in Ministerial Ethics, today is our third lecture, and I will be looking at the ethics of the assistant pastor, the ethics of the assistant. Now, let me use assistant generally. And just like when we were trying to define the head yesterday, and I said the head may be the general overseer of a church, the head may be the resident pastor of a church, the head may be the head of the choir ministry, the head may be the head of the women's ministry. The head may be the head of a particular department, the Sunday school or whatever. Now, but today I'm going to define the assistant. Now, when we talk about assistant, we will have to understand that generally when God establishes a vision, like a ministry or a church, now the founder is the head. God is the owner of the ministry. He is the head. But as in human person, there is a head who is also a human being, who is the overseer of that church or the president of that church. Yes, and every other person under that commission is also considered as an assistant, because whatever goes wrong in that church, God will first of all hold that head responsible. That is, if the head allowed anything to go wrong, then God is going to hold him accountable. And that is why every other person, the resident pastors heading branches under the head must not tolerate anything they do contrary to the vision of the ministry. And every other person who is heading a particular department, the head must not also tolerate any other thing they are doing which is contrary to the vision of the ministry, because that person that God has set as the head is the custodian of that vision. Now, when we get down to the assistant pastor, the associate pastor, or the resident pastor, yes, he is the head of the branch, but a custodian of the vision in that branch. Yes, so he also had people under him who are assisting him. So, but he is also an assistant. Yes, he has people under him who is assisting him, but he is also an assistant. Yes, so the head of department is also a custodian of the vision in that particular department. Yes, he also have other people in that department who are assisting him as the custodian of the vision in that department, but he is also an assistant. And I hope I've defined who is an assistant. Now, the assistant minister can be identified as anyone operating in the following position. The following position of an assistant pastor, a resident pastor, and assistant or deputy department officer, or a department officer, or a worship leader, or a departmental pastor, a youth pastor, a branch pastor, a minister of music in the choir, the women ministers, all of them can come under the definition of what we call the assistant pastor. But there is one thing I want to make very clear. To have an assistant pastor, to have assistants in general, is always very, very good. And those are things God have said, that it is not good for a man to be alone. Yes, but sometimes it's also very, very terrible to have one. Just like it is not good for a man not to marry, but sometimes it is also terrible for a man who has married to a terrible woman. That is another thing about an assistant. Now, a good assistant minister is compared to a good ambassador. That is a representative, someone who can represent the head in any place, in any function, in any responsibility. He does not reflect his own idea or vision, only those vision of the head. That is what the assistant pastor is having to the responsibility to demonstrate or to do. Yes, that is whether you are a resident pastor under an overseer or you are an assistant pastor under a resident pastor. Now, the resident pastor under an overseer is an assistant, and he's representing the overseer in the place where he is overseeing. Now, and then the people under him are representing him directly. So whatever they are doing under the resident pastor, they are doing under his authority as his representative and as his ambassador. So a good assistant will be likened to a good ambassador, a good representative. And a good assistant can also be compared to a good wife. Now, a good assistant can also be seen as a good wife. Now, a good wife understood that whatever is the pride of her husband is her pride, and the shame of her husband is also her shame. Now, a good assistant understands that when the leader fell, he has failed. When the leader succeeds, he has succeeded. Just like you cannot lift up a man's hand and your hand can be down. As soon as you lift up that hand, your hand must be up to sustain his hand up. Like when Moses was lifting up his hand in the wilderness and the people in the Israelites were conquering, the Bible says Caleb and Joshua were holding up his hand, but their hands were also up. Yes, so you cannot lift up somebody's hand and then your hand cannot go up. So as a good assistant pastor, when your master succeeds, you succeed together with him. So a woman who really understands her position as a wife understood that when her husband is failing in life, she is failing. And when her husband is succeeding in life, she is also succeeding. If the husband makes money, he will definitely give her money for the upkeep of the house. If the husband does not make money, he gives her no money. So if the church is not even making money, if the head has not even seen money, how does he even give you money? Some assistants only come to their head with demands. Yes, but they don't even bother where and how the head makes the money that they demand from him. Now, a good wife is that woman who guides the businesses of her husband with jealousy, knowing that if the business stands, she also stands a better ground of getting more better upkeep. Now, he obeys instruction just like a wife is obedient to her husband. A good assistant obeys instruction just like the wife is obedient to her husband. And the obedience of a good assistant is genuine. His support is genuine to the head. Just like the wife's support to her husband is genuine. It is not under pretext. It's not under eye service. He must not be an independent person. He depends on the head. So he's controlled by the head. Now, if you are not faithful with another man's responsibility or business, that's what Jesus said in his teaching. He said, even your own will not be given to you. You cannot be promoted to be the head when you are not even a good assistant. Now, it is when you serve well as an assistant that your head promotes you, and God also promotes you. And that is what Luke chapter 16 verse 12 is saying. And you must know that most of the problems of the church, even from the Old Testament, has always emanated from assistant. Yes, we have people like Absalom, who was an assistant to his father David. We have people like Adonijah, who was also an assistant. We have Ahithophel, who was also an assistant. We have Shimei, who was also an assistant. We have Joab, who was also an assistant. We have Judas, who was also an assistant. We have even the devil himself, Lucifer, who was also an assistant. Now, but if you look at the rebellion of these people in the scripture and the footsteps it has set for as a foundation for the church, you will understand what we are talking about, the ethics of the assistant. Now, when we are talking about the ethics of the assistant, the following guidelines will help you to be a good assistant. As a good assistant, make mention of your head or your senior often when you are talking. Even when you are preaching, make reference to him more often. That is a sign that you are a good assistant. Yes. Now, number 2, genuinely admire your head and praise him more often. If you don't admire your head, you are not a good assistant. Introduce your head in an exciting way and make a positive compliment or remark about everything that he has preached. Yes, when your head has finished preaching or your head has finished talking, you make a positive remark. Do not become a receiver of complaint about your head. That is another point, ethics. Yes, do not become a receiver of complaint about your head. And that is the destruction of Absalom. In 2 Samuel chapter 15, verse 2 to 4, Absalom was the receiver of all complaints about the administration of David. And suddenly he became an enemy of David and wanted to overthrow the kingdom of David. Now, when you are an assistant, people who are dissatisfied with your head will always come to you with their complaint. And if you are not careful, you miss God at that moment. And that is how you can also destroy yourself, destroy your ministry, destroy your career. You must find genuine excuses for every lapses in the head. Yes, when people come to you with complaint about your head, you must find genuine excuses to explain away his lapses, which people are trying to point out. And otherwise, you will gradually grow into rebellion, and then before you know it, you are gone off key and you have lost your ministry. Whenever your head is unable to attend any function, you must inform the people in that function that you are there as a representative of your head in his capacity, and you must inform them that your head is aware that you are there, that he sent you there, and you must let them know that your head has intention by himself to make it to that function, but there is a reason which is beyond him, which made him impossible for him to be in that function. Don't just go there and say, this man, I know he will not come, this and that. No, that's not ethical. Yes, that's not a good assistant. When a function is gone and your wife is able to attend and you are supposed to be in that function, your wife there has already represented you. Whether you told her to represent you or not, she must definitely cover up for you. A good assistant cover up everything. That is why you are called assistant, to do the things that the man could not by himself be able to do. And if God has called you to assist, that is what you are called to do. Look for those things that the man may not be able to do, and that is what you do. Always remind the congregation that you are not the main person and that there is someone above you. If you are a good assistant, you must always point the congregation that yes, there is a head, there is someone above you. You not try to outshine him. Yes. Like John will always say, I'm not the Christ, I am sent to prepare the way for his coming. Show your admiring congregation how and where you learn all you know. Yes, don't, when people begin to clap for you for what you are saying, wow, you are speaking Rhema, you are making sense, you are powerful, you gifted, you are whatever, you know that somebody have labored over you. You must show them, this is where I have learned it. I got to this place by this means. That is appreciation. Appreciation. The Bible said, Jesus himself said, I can do nothing without the Father. In John chapter 5, verse 19, he said, the Son can do nothing without the Father. Is what he sees the Father doing that he does. And when you minister to the church members, let them know that you are actually doing it on behalf of your head. Don't do it as if you are without. No, you are actually functioning. You are actually doing what you are doing on behalf of your head. Be genuinely happy at the promotion of your head, because when your head is going up, you are also going up along with him. The promotion of your head is your own promotion. John the Baptist was not jealous at the promotion of Jesus. He said, he must increase while I decrease. Yes, but the truth is, as your head is going up, you must also be going up. John the Baptist made that statement in John chapter 3, verse 26. And then a good assistant must also understand, he must ensure that everything is well with the head. The welfare of the head is the duty of the assistant. Yes, the head is always careful to take care of the welfare of the assistants. But the assistants must also understand that the welfare of the head is their responsibility. Yes, when the assistants have problems, the head runs around to meet to solve those problems. And when the head have problems, it is the duty of the assistants to run around and to solve that problem. Yes, another ethical conduct of the assistant is to honor your heads. Yes, honor your head's wife as well. Don't dishonor your head's wife. Honor his wife. If you dishonor a man's wife, you have dishonored the man himself. Minister to her and give her gifts. Is important. Anything you give to her, she shows her husband, and it shows you it tells him the love you have for him. Anything you give to his wife, she eventually shows her husband, and it tells him the kind of person you are. Yes. He that received me, received the one who sent me. That is what Jesus said. So if you receive the man's wife, you have also received the man. Yes, if you receive the man's wife, you have received the man. Regard your association with your head as a learning experience. Regard it as a learning experience. If you don't regard it as a learning experience, you will learn nothing from him. You will not grow from him. Acquire books, tapes, and messages from the man. Acquire books, acquire tapes, acquire his messages. Read them. Listen to them, and do not publicly disagree with the policy of the head or with the decision of the head. Don't publicly disagree with their policy. That is not ethical. It is unethical for an assistant pastor to establish a private side fellowship in the church without the knowledge or approval of the head. Periodically recognize pleasant surprises for your head. Yes, periodically organize such kind of pleasant surprises. Maybe a birthday surprise, a special day surprise. Yes, Christmas surprise, whatever, Easter surprise, whatever special surprise for the head. Yes, a man's gift. A man's gift make room for him. Bring him before great men. Now, such and attitude will also promote you as an assistant. Yes, when your head is traveling, you must be at the airport to see him. You learn the habit of seeing your head off. Yes, if possible, if you cannot go with him to where he is going, then the least you should do is to see him off even to the airport. And during counseling, your head may ask you to sit down there when he is counseling or when he's trying to solve a conflict situation, whatever. During those kind of counseling, yes, there is do not contribute in any counseling that is contrary to what he said. Do not try to develop a completely new train of thought. This may be a confusing thing to receive at the time of counsel. And just like the great man of God, Doug Howard Mill, he said he teach his assistant minister to use these simple but very powerful phrases while assisting their senior pastor or their head in counseling. Just ask some simple questions. Do you understand what pastor is saying? Yes, those kind of questions are important from an assistant pastor who is at the counseling room with his head. Do you understand what the pastor is saying? Another question may be, do you understand that the pastor is only trying to help you? Do you understand that the pastor is trying to help you? Yes, these are questions you may ask. Okay, pastor is only saying this because he loves you. These are some of the things the assistant may say. I wish I had someone speak to me this way when I was in similar situation. Those are remarks you could make, and those remarks can go a long way. You cannot imagine a wife disagreeing with her husband even when he is trying to help particular people on track or trying to correct the children or whatever. There is no reason for it. There is no reason to interject. And this is how far I may have to take today. But we may not be able to finish looking at the ethics of the assistant pastor without looking at the bad habit of the assistant pastor, which I may not be able to digest that today because I don't want the lecture to be too long so that you will be able to remember. In the next class, probably I'm going to come up on Wednesday with an additional class for the one we missed on Saturday. I'm going to come up to discuss the B part of this, the bad ethics of the bad assistant. Yes, we're going to look at what bad assistants do. We have seen what good assistants do, and God will bless us. Drop in the comment section what you have learned from today's lecture. God bless you.